Hi, I'm Nicholas Wallwork, CEO of propertyforum.com and Red Brick. I'm here today joined by Tony Gimple, and we're going to be talking about the 4 pillars of property investing and treating your property investments like a business. We're going to be covering your overall strategy. We're going to be covering tax and accounting, finance, and indeed building a power team around you to be able to deliver your sites and your investments on time and on budget. Tony, welcome to the show today. Thanks for joining me.
No, pleasure, Nick. It's nice to be on one of your sites.
It is. No, it's brilliant. We've never shown you around one of the bigger sites we've been working on. We've done lots of work together, but never actually dragged you kicking and screaming around one of the dirty, messy sites. And we've managed to get you all dressed up,
not in my usual
sized out, and we've got our lovely PPE boots on as well for those at home. All important. So first and foremost, we're on a big site like this, a 30,000 square foot site. One of my mentee clients. It's all about building a power team, isn't it? And you know, you can't do this on your own. When you're on a site of this size, how on earth do you deliver this on your own or with a small team? So, what would you say is the kind of importance of building a team, and why is that important to any kind of property business?
Well, the team is everything. Whether it's a small project, your first ever conversion, adding value to a new build, or 30,000 square feet of what is going to become, probably good quality housing association type development, unless you really are a complete malevolent dictator, never sleep, hang yourself upside down by your feet at night with a power cable plugged in.
Like most entrepreneurs, they like to hang on, don't they? Cling on to everything, and control freaks.
There's a difference between being a control freak and having control of the project. But the real definition of being a good developer, businessman, managing director, whatever you want to call it, is to understand that you don't know what you don't know, but have got enough nous, personality, control to be able to know enough about every single one of the trades, from the main contractor to the guy who makes the tea, in order that push comes to shove, you can have a sensible conversation and make sure the damn thing runs on time. But it's not just about the physicality of the site or the development. It's working with the local authorities, the planners, making sure you've got the right structures in place. Right,
consultants as well. So it's not just on-site, it's the off-site team.
It's the whole thing.
Is important, isn't it?
Start where you want to finish. Because if you haven't got that vision and you haven't got the end user in mind, the customer, the person who's going to put that money back in your pocket, you've got huge problems.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of moving on to the second pillar of investing would be finance. Why should you be working with the right people in terms of finance, and why should you understand the different options for finance? What's your opinions on that?
Well, if you don't understand the options on finance, you're going to make a loss. You're not
simple as that, right?
As simple as that.
Or you're going to make a much lower profit because you might be using finance that's particularly costly. Brokers might fall down at the last minute, mightn't they, and screw things up, for want of a better phrase.
If it will go wrong, or if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Everyone's got short-term selective memories. That's just the nature of the beast. So do your due diligence. Try to avoid the mainstream banks like the plague, particularly if the sun is shining. They will very happily lend you an umbrella. The minute it starts to rain, they'll want it back. And there'll be all sorts of penalties and nasties in with the contract. So look at what you're trying to achieve. Understand how much of your skin you've got in the game. Work out who, after taking advice, is going to be to the best source of that finance, either for the entire project or for the various stages in between. Now, obviously, the more you want to borrow, the more you want to finance, is it going to be the one main lender, or is it going to be initial finance, mezzanine finance? Is it going to be equity based? There are so many ways to do it, and if you're first time out, you can run into some serious problems.
I think also on the flip side, it's like the banks and the high street banks can be particularly risk averse, lower loan to values, often lower rates, but they're less risky, they're less able to work with newer investors in some cases. But also on the flip side, the mezzanine, other end of the scale, mezzanine, bridge finance, all that, they can be some pretty ruthless banks and lenders that will just take that site back off you and sell it on at the first moments of a problem.
And your first 1 or 2 projects will be the most expensive. In terms of finance, you'll have the least choice. But as you can prove you've delivered on the goods, you brought the project in on time, on budget, made a profit, paid your money back, suddenly your world opens up. And these days with platform lending, specialist crowdfunders, family offices, there's going to be a big surge in family offices, office lending. Particularly now the UK is once again assuming its place as the centre of the financial universe, and the flexibility that being a maritime trading nation gives us, to attract good money into the system and produce projects like this.
Definitely. Well, thanks for that. Let's have a little wander around the site. We'll carry on the discussion around here.
As we go.
So, I guess it's really interesting to hear your views on that, Tony. I think part of when we work together, and we're professional colleagues in that respect, particularly under Property Summits, which is our kind of event speaking. What do we do there? We talk and we help educate people, don't we?
Well, it's
propertysummits.com, by the way, for everyone looking at home. Make sure you log on and check it out.
Yeah, whatever you read, it's all true.
Yep.
So what is Property Summits about in this context?
It's about helping people and giving people market updates.
Yeah.
It's about helping educate people to a point that they might not be able to get readily in the press. They get either the bad news or the good news in the press. We'll try and give people realistic news. How should you actually do it? Not how should you be pretend, to marketing to do it.
and all of the reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I suppose our sole motivation at Property Summits is to put as many people off going into property as possible. Not because we want.
Well, you do, because you're always the particularly what do I call them? I don't want to be mean.
You can be as mean as you like. No, I'm not negative. I'm just a realist.
The most realistic one. Yeah, okay, that could be argued.
Yeah, well, one of the favourite ones. Read the book, seen the film, iron T-shirt, got the scars, some of which are still not so gently weeping.
I love your anecdotes. I don't know where they come from, but they're brilliant.
Well, the benefits of self-education. No, look, being in property is hard work. If you're going to be a buy-to-let landlord, tenants and toilets, will drive you nuts, no matter how well you do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're in property development, contractors sometimes can equally drive you nuts. So instead of tenants and toilets, it's contractors and toilets. Putting the service in a place like this are an absolute nightmare.
Oh God, the money's in the ground,
Yeah.
A lot of money in the ground here.
Yeah.
But all of what you've just said, completely true. So I think coming into our third pillar of property investing and treating your property investments like a business is your overriding strategy. What are you building?
Yep.
Who are you building it for?
Yep.
Starting, I think you mentioned a moment ago, starting from the end goal.
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve? What's that tenant group look like?
Yes.
Working backwards in terms of location, demand, demographics, all that
Yep.
kind of stuff, right to where we are today on site. This is a purpose-built site for actually a couple of different exits. You don't have to have one exit, but you need to know what the exit options could be for a site, and then build towards those.
If you can, before even finding the plot of land or the conversion, know who that purchaser is going to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not an individual or a housing association or a pension fund, know that you have a market. So by the time you get to second fixing, you can customise it to their level.
You start marketing it off
Start
plan if you
marketing
need to, if you're selling
Absolutely.
or letting, you can still get some interest, can't you?
Of course you can. And without that, you're going to have problems. And if you look at all of the world's wealthiest entrepreneurs, they've always had their buyer lined up before they've broken ground or signed the contract.
Absolutely. If you can do almost a back-to-back deal, that's the pinnacle, that's the dream of any property investment, is having your end buyer, your end lease set up, ready to go, and you're just building for that. It's not always easy. And the majority of our sites, we haven't managed to achieve that, but the number we have, and it does make an awful lot of difference.
Of course it does. It becomes cheaper to finance as well.
Very much so, and much less risky.
A lot less risky.
Okay, well that leads us nicely on to the finale, which is Tony's expertise, other than, which colour of pink underwear do I wear today, is
I don't do pink underwear.
Tax and accounting. Tax and accounting, Tony. Just, where do we start? I guess, as one of the key pillars of investing, It's almost one of the most important, because if you buy in the wrong structure, if you buy in the wrong entity, you can get hammered now, you can get hammered with inheritance tax later down the line. It does seem sometimes like an unnecessary evil to have to pay for some consultation on tax and accounting early on in the game, because you're not making money from it. But actually, you're saving a hell of a lot of money from it, aren't you? It's the opposite.
You're making money from it.
Well, you are making money. Making or saving, it's the same thing ultimately, isn't it?
No,
But if
it's
you're
not,
serious,
actually.
you need to get it right from day one.
The goal to working with any professional advisor, be it accountants, tax consultants, lawyers, immaterial. The only thing they're selling is that which they know and you don't. So unless they have lots of experience in the sector, a proven track record, clients of similar size are prepared to work with you and not just under your instruction. You may be a great property developer, but what do you know about instructing a lawyer or an accountant for a particular expertise?
Yeah.
So do your research, look at their experience, don't go to social media. It's not a place to get the world and its mother without any context.
You do understand we're recording YouTube videos for my YouTube channel here, Tony?
That's not social media. That's anti-social. No, sorry.
I think you're absolutely right. Social media is a place where bad people can look great.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can start with social media. I'm going to disagree with you. You can
Okay.
start there, but don't finish there. Ask to see what people have done.
By all means.
Ask to see their top 10 clients. Ask to see
Yep.
land registry data of the properties they own, whether it's in personal names, LLPs, partnerships, limited companies. Ask to see it. I actually spoke to a mentee client just yesterday, and he said, well, what have you actually done? Can you show me? And I brought up my asset and liability sheet and talked him through a number of addresses that we own and we've done, both past and currently owned, to demonstrate for real what we do.
Yes, you can use anti-social media, as I call it.
Anti-social media.
But it's only a place to really to see who's out there.
Sure.
There was something on Facebook in one of the property groups where an individual was answering a question about incorporating a buy-to-let portfolio and had never even heard of Section 162 incorporation relief. And they were trying to give advice.
Crazy, isn't it?
Mad.
I think in your field in tax, it's particularly poignant to not start with social media.
Correct.
Social media is great for marketing, getting your name out there, and helping people with good educational content, such as this, hopefully. Yep. But don't take advice from someone off Facebook thinking you can cut out an accountant's fees. Oh, I'll go and do that. Huge mistake, huge mistake.
It is a massive mistake, and one that a lot of people make. And when it goes wrong, or they try and do it themselves, you've got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
So always always use, if you like, social media as a place to. It's almost like the Encyclopedia Britannica of of the day. What you've got are all of the words, all of the pictures, some of the knowledge, but none of the context. And it's the context that matters.
Definitely.
You can read how to do this online. You can build an aircraft online. You can learn to fly a Spitfire online. But until you've actually got your hands on the yoke and controlling it, and this thing actually powerful.
Yeah.
That's the context that's missing. So really social media is out there, but it's out there in more than the sense of a place you can go to. It's out there in the weird, wonderful, and sometimes wrong. But it's as good a place as any.
Well, thank you for that, Tony. That's really, really good advice. Thank you. And I think that sums up our 4 pillars of property investing and treating your property investments like a business. Tax is a key one, and you need a holistic picture wherever you go. You need the right consultants, the right people on board your team to make the right decisions. And as you said, halfway through our chat today, you don't know what you don't know. This has been Tony Gimple. I'm Nicholas Wallwork, CEO of Redbrick and Property Forum. If you're interested in working with me either on a mentorship basis, investing hands-off in our company Redbrick, please do reach out on the details around this video, and I hope to see you on a new video very soon. Take care.